Hey everyone, so excited to be back with you. I wanted to start this episode off with a question. When was the moment that this shift happened for you? That shift. The shift where you're like, you know what? Something needs to change. I need to do something different. I'm not happy with the results that I have right now. Who was that for you? Who spoke into you where you had that ping light bulb moment? Or was it, I'm just sick of my own stuff and we need to shift? Write that down. I want you to ask yourself that question and really ponder on that because we've all had one of those moments. Now, if you have not had one of those moments, I implore you to really dig deep and ask yourself, do you want to stay here? Do you want to stay in this place that you're in right now and be here in the exact same spot this time next year? But I'm going to be speaking to all those who have recognized the shift and really reflect on, again, who was it? What was it? What was that moment like for you? Throughout my professional career, a lot of people have been talking about influence, influence, influence. How do you build your influence? Now, one of the things that I've really recognized is there is a worldly way of building influence, and then there is a kingdom way of building influence. Both work, but only one is sustainable and one is long term. So what we see influence as, gosh, I mean, write it in the comments below, write it in the section below, write it down. What is influence actually like? What comes up for you when you hear the word influence, right? A lot of people are like, they got a lot of followers. They make a lot of money. They have public notoriety. People listen to them. Typical things, right? But when I think of influence, I think of a weight. I think of a responsibility that was given to me, especially when you look at it from a kingdom perspective. Having influence is a weighty call. Being a leader is a weighty call. Being able to handle the eyes that are on you, the pressure that's on you, the scrutiny that comes with it. I like to call the scrutiny trolls. There's a lot of trolls on the internet, a lot of people that will be keyboard warriors that will dive into the comment section that will just share their opinion, all their opinions, right? Not warranted at all, but they will share them. So being able to understand the weight of influence and not succumbing to the pressure, meaning not letting it get to your head, your ego popping off, your pride going through the roof, you thinking you're better than. And what I see a lot of the time is when somebody gets influence and they're not ready for it, it most of the time turns from I'm serving this person to they're now serving me. If it doesn't benefit me, I'm not going to do it. If it's taking too much time, I'm not going to do it. If it's not happening the way I want, I'm not going to do it. And so now we've made it about ourselves rather than the people that we're serving. Now, there's a lot of people that I speak with that really are striving for influence. They want it so bad because of what comes along with it, right? They think there's this comfortability, there's money, there's, fame, the fortune, all those things, right? Now, those things can come for sure. But I will tell you, what's even more important is that you really dial in and dig down on your character before you are praying for that influence. And luckily, we serve a God that is not going to give you that influence before your time. He'd rather have your heart be pruned, be refined before that is given to you, if that is even a calling on your life. Now, let's talk about pruning for a second. Pruning is painful. Like if you think of pruning a tree, obviously you can see trees around me here, right? When you think of pruning a tree, pruning a bush, pruning roses, pruning something, there is a blunt force with scissors, trimmers, clippers that has to happen in order for that pruning to take place. And with pruning, even if you think of let's think of a beautiful imagery or an image, a winery. When you think of the pruning that has to happen, the pruning needs to happen in order for the dead to go away and for the new life to come in when the new season of harvest comes. There's always a pruning that needs to happen. There's always just the leaves and dead branches and things that are no longer of use that need to fall off. That is exactly what has to happen in our characters. So it's traumatizing sometimes. It's hard. It's literally dying to self in order to get to the next phase. But a lot of people aren't willing to go through that. They are trying to find the shortcuts. How can I automate? How can I speed this up? Who can I purchase for hire to show me the shortcuts? Which there's always, at some point, not every point, but there are benefits to being able to hire people in order to show you a few shortcuts, right? Hey, don't do this, don't do that. And there's definitely benefits of that. But the most beneficial thing that you could do for yourself in order to build that influence, in order for you to even be that moment for somebody where they had an epiphany from what you said, and it made them shift their life and take massive action to change their life. In order for that all to happen, you have to go through this pruning process. It's so funny to me now that I'm older that when I was younger, gosh, even like 4 or 5 years ago, everybody's like, mindset, mindset, mindset. And to the point where it's just like, yeah, mindset, okay. But really, you can try to hire anybody. You can try to speed up the process. You can try to cheat your way through it. Gosh, we even see people who sell their souls to try to get the fame and notoriety that they want, right? And to the world looking at them, it may look like it works, but it doesn't. It does not work. You cannot cheat the system. You cannot cheat the process. And this is why when you look at somebody who wins the lottery, for example, I mean, it's almost a 10 out of 10, 100% like guaranteed bet that this person is not ready for, say they won $100 million. They are not ready. They are not the person that knows how to steward, manage, and be able to take care of that 100 million to have it sustain them for life. You hear the stories. They fall into like suicide, drugs, alcohol. They buy all these things. They go crazy. But it doesn't fulfill anything. It doesn't fulfill a thing. And so most of us are working for the money, the freedom, the space, the time to do whatever it is that we want. But I want to encourage you with this. Focus more on the person that you need to become. Who do I need to become in order to steward the resources that I want coming in, to steward my time correctly? It's so funny when people are like, oh, I want to retire at 55. I want to retire at 60. I want to retire in my 20s because I want to make a lot of money. And then I've met retired people of all different ages, and most of the time they are bored. They're like, and here's another day of watching TV or hanging out or ... There's no fulfillment in there. So it's so interesting to me that so many people work for retirement, but yet then they get bored and they're like, I don't want to keep doing this. So then I've met a lot of retired, quote unquote, people that do Uber, that want to just meet people and just drive around. They don't need the money, but they just want to like do something. We should never fully be retired. We're never fully done until the breath stops pumping in our lungs. God is not done with us yet. If we wake up this morning and we still got things to do. So focus on the person you need to become, because then when those hardships hit, you know how to handle them. When the joy hits, when the financial blessings hit, when that love of your life walks in, when that blessing, that prayer that's been answered, you know how to steward it all and be so thankful and grateful rather than, gosh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. So all of this actually pours into building your influence because, again, it's about the person that you become. It's about the person that can prepare for the things that are on the way. But most people don't want to do that work. They just want it to come, and then that's it. Make it easy. They're praying for easy. They're praying for happiness, rather than, for all my believers out there, praying for holiness. Lord, make me more like you. Make me more like you. I want to die to the things of myself that don't serve me, that take the focus off of you. If there's anything that's taking my focus away from you, get it out. I want to love people more. I want to give more grace, more mercy, even when they don't deserve it, because you give that to me. Woo! That gap is definitely huge in the Christian community, just in the community in general, people in general. We need a lot more grace and love. So be that person that is able to lead people through that shows them transparently, hey, look, this isn't the easiest of times, but I'm weathering the storm. And these storms are going to hit, especially the closer you get to the promise and the calling that's on your life. The storms are going to be raging way more because the enemy does not want you to step into that promise. He wants to keep you subdued. So building a godly influence takes a lot of dying to self, leading people, walking with them through their emotions, their thought processes, and really meeting them where they're at. Not letting them stay there, there's a difference. But you're meeting them where they're at so they feel seen, loved, heard, and then showing them a better way. And it's up to them to kind of take that bait in a sense and be able to follow that way. But there is a but here. It takes a lot of leadership to do that. It takes a lot of learning about yourself, growing in who you are called to be, surrounding yourself with people that are looking to do the same and that are doing the same. And that's why I love our community so much here at Girl Power Alliance, because so many women are starving for that. And they're able to get that. The truth, the love. We're going to meet you where you're at and we're going to show you a better way. And it's up to you if you want to take it or not. But we're going to love you regardless. Ooh, loving somebody regardless. Have you tried doing that lately? It can be very difficult, but very rewarding. So when you think about the question that we asked in the beginning of this, what was that moment like for you? Who was that person that helped you shift, or were you just sick of your own crap and then you decided to shift? For me, it was a person. For me, it was a person that I found online because I didn't have anybody around me that had what I wanted, and I knew I was called for more. And it was one of those things where I just reverse engineered everything. I reverse engineered her mindset. What podcasts is she listening to? What people is she hiring? What environments is she in? What books is she reading? I know she's weathering storms. How is she doing that? How is she staying so positive? What does her quiet time look like? Personal development, professional development, spiritual development. I had to dig deeper what was not seen on the surface, because we only see don't get triggered by this word, y'all, a manifestation of the things that we do on the back end. We're seeing the fruit. That might be better for some of y'all. We're seeing the fruit on the front end, but there's so much behind it. Like these trees around me. You can see these trees, right? They don't just pop out of the ground and boop, here we are. The roots go so deep, so deep. And without deep roots, if any wind kicked up, these trees would plop over and be useless. That's exactly what we got to do. We got to deepen the root system. We got to look at people and be like, there's a root system there. I want to tap into that. Tell me more. Be hungry to learn. Be hungry to figure it out. And be patient with the process. So often we get caught up in the, gosh, this is going to take some time. Yes, it is. If it's going to bring you the freedom, the fulfillment, the promises, it is going to take you time, but it's going to be worth it. Because what's the alternative? What's the cost of doing nothing? The cost of doing nothing is actually everything. You don't get the fulfillment. You don't fulfill your purpose. You don't get the promise. That's everything. That's not worth it to me. So we got to dig in and do the work. And just know that there are people alongside you. And if you need a community, if you need people alongside you, let me know. Message me. I would love to be able to connect you into the places that you need to go, because everybody needs community. I was actually on a call with somebody yesterday that I met off TikTok. And this lady, you could just see it written all over her face. She was just starving for community. And you could just tell she was carrying some heavy stuff, and she just didn't have anybody around her. My heart broke for her. We all need people around us. We are bred for community. We are not designed to be alone. Honestly, being alone at times with the wrong mindset is the most self-destructive thing you could ever do. I've seen people do it, just implode. Now, we do need time alone in order for us to reflect on our thoughts. That's different. But having a community of people around you to know, I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not the only one that has these thoughts. Rather than, there's other ways to think about it, other ways to perceive it, perspective, just other ways, and other people out there that are going to love on me, pray for me, and pour into me through it. That is how we are meant to do life. So there's so much when it comes to building your influence that people don't even barely scratch the surface because, again, just like the trees out here, they just see what's coming out of the tree. It's lush, it's green, it's beautiful. But they don't even tap into like a millimeter of the root system. That's where the gold is. That's where the gold is. Because without the root system, this tree is nothing. This tree is dead. So tap into your own root system, tap into other people's root system, get hungry, ask questions, and you're going to find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.